want to get rich in the next 2 to 3 years, all you need to do is follow this 10-step plan. My name is Matt, and I work with over 200 business owners on a weekly basis. If you're looking to get very rich in the next 2 to 3 years, then you need to take care of the following things: your offer, your operations, your hiring and training, your paid ads, your content, your outreach, your partnerships, your appointment setting, your sales, and your website. And that's a lot of things, but I'm going to show you what to do for each. So let's get started. So on my screen here, I have the 10 things that I'm going to talk about in this video. And these are the 10 things that are going to make you a lot of money in the next 2 to 3 years if you have the guts, if you have the focus, if you have the work ethic to apply it. So they're the offer, the operations, the hiring, paid ads, content, outreach, partnerships, appointment setting, sales, and your website. And it's very important to understand, in my opinion, that doing all 10 of these things at like a 5 out of 10 quality level is going to perform a lot better than doing even 8 out of 10 at a 10 out of 10 quality level. It's more of how they all work together than it is how, each and every one of them are on their own. I'm sure, of course, it would be better if all of them were a 10 out of 10, but it's very important to understand, if you're writing this down, which you should be, that all 10 of them are necessary, even if they're not all perfect. At the very end of the video, the last step is I'm going to show you what an example annual profit might look like, because I've promised that you're going to get rich if you do these things, right? So we might actually have to show what that might look like. So I have 4 categories here. So like basically what you get from your paid ads, what you get from your content, what you get from your outreach, and what you get from your partnerships. Just an example, but I think seeing actual numbers is very important here. And that's what I'm going to show you at the very end of the video. So let's go to the first one, and this is the offer. So the offer is the first step, and it's very important because it's the highest point of leverage in your entire business. The better your offer is, the better your entire business will be, because it affects your offer or your marketing. It affects your lead generation. It affects your sales. It affects how many people book a call. It affects your service delivery. It's just so important. So the way you can make your offer better is essentially at a high level, making the risk as low as possible and making the reward high as possible. And that's not exactly enlightening advice, but you'd be amazed how easy and how simple it is once you really get into it with that frame of mind. It should be noted, in my opinion, that if we assign a arbitrary value, not arbitrary, but if we just assign a theoretical value of risk and reward, it's a lot better to have an offer that has like a 50 out of 100 potential reward and a 10 out of 100 risk than it would be to have an offer that has a 100 out of 100 potential reward, but 90 out of 100 risk. Not everything has to completely revolutionize their entire business, and it's just so important that you get the offer right. The next thing I want to talk about is the intro offer and the recurring service and how they work together. It's number 2 and number 3 here, but they really are, like, one wouldn't be talked about without the other. So if we scroll into our picture here, this is what a very good lead generation, sales, marketing funnel looks like. And these 2 things are at the bottom down here. So an intro offer or a one-time service, I'm going to use those 2 terms interchangeably here. They work together because a lot of the times your recurring service, costs $5,000, $10,000 per month with a minimum contract. That's a lot of risk. That's a big commitment. But if you have a one-time offer or one-time service or an intro offer, all the same thing in this case, you sell it to them, you get your foot in the door, you do a great job, they trust you, they're happy with you. It becomes very easy to sell your recurring service. And that's why it's very important to have both of these things, in my view, at least, and the view of, pretty much every business who's ever tried it. I'm just going to make a blanket statement like that because it is so true. The next thing you want to do is have different offers for different levels of the market, because when people see your paid ads, when people see your content, when people see your outreach and your partnerships, like 99% of those people are going to be unqualified. And that's just the way it is. People can't afford your main service. They don't need it. They're whatever the reason. So if you have different offers where you can, sell them some templates for $100, or you can put affiliate links in all of your lead magnets and your YouTube videos and stuff like that. Or you could refer them to people who could do it for cheaper, or you could sell them a course or a program if they want to learn to do it themselves. Like, this is going to make you like twice as much revenue, but more importantly, it's going to make you like 5 times as much profit, just because, think about it, a digital product, referrals, programs, courses, those are close to 100% profit margin. They might have, payment processing fees and some software fees, but it's going to be 95% plus. And it's just so important to have the different options, or you're going to leave a lot of money on the table. The fifth part is the value ladder. So there's a lot of situations where, somebody will come into like learn about you the first time by buying your templates, for example, your paid ad templates if you were a paid ad agency or whatever. Then they're going to learn about you, watch some YouTube videos, get some emails. Eventually, they're going to come in for your intro offer, for your one-time service. They're going to like that. You're going to do a great job, and then they're going to buy your recurring service. And then they might buy another upsell that you have after that. And it's just all about getting more money out of every customer, because getting a customer is hard. Like, don't let anybody gaslight you or say, oh my God, it's so easy. It is hard. And every client you get is a win in and of itself. And if you can get more money from each client, that's going to make you rich. If you were getting $2,500 in profit per client before, and now you get $5,000, you're doubling your income with the same amount of clients. If you were getting $5,000 before and you're getting $20,000 now, if you really did this well, you're 4 times your take-home income. It's without having to hire anybody else, without having to spend more on ads, without having to get more customers. It's just one of those things that is so important in the grand scheme of things. The second thing is the operations. So when you're doing your operations, like, this is what's going to hold a lot of people back, is they don't know, how to systemize, how to set up processes, how to ensure consistent quality on all of the results. So the first thing you want to do is you want to have like a home base. So we use an operations spreadsheet here that has every task laid out. It has, when it's done, it has how much time is required, it's who does it in terms of the role, and then the actual person. We say, is this added to their calendar? Is there a reminder? Is the reminder added to their calendar? And then who checks this? Who verifies this? Having a home base where you can like find all of your tasks at a glance is one of the most important things, because everybody in your company can instantly open this, see what's up, see what they need to do, see who's doing it already, and just go from there, as opposed to having an overly complex system where you have tons and tons of different, buckets, different categories, different modules. Just so much easier doing it like this. So with each task in here, and I've touched on it, is not enough to have a SOP or a process or tell someone to do something. You need to have someone who does it, the owner. You need to remind them constantly, automatically using a Slack workflow or some sort of thing. And then you need to have someone who verifies it. These are 3 different things, and all 3 are important to getting stuff done. It's kind of like, when you talk about election security in like different countries, there's poll watchers, but who's watching the poll watchers, right? It's kind of like this. There's a task owner, but who's reminding them and who's watching them and who's verifying that the verifier verified it. And this is all, in an ideal world, you wouldn't have to do this kind of stuff, but this is how it is in reality. And if you want to have a successful company and you want to get rich, like, this is the kind of thinking you have to do. The next is an SOP, which stands for Standard Operating Procedure. Basically a step-by-step task list of exactly how to do it, complete with, what should it look like when it's done, an exact plan, a video teaching them how to do it, that kind of stuff. The next is training, and training is not the exact same as an SOP. So an SOP is like a step-by-step task. You could have an SOP showing someone how to schedule a Twitter post. That's different than having someone write a great Twitter post, right? That would be training, which is step 4. Training and SOPs are similar on a surface level, but they're definitely not the same thing. And then the final one is you always want to have examples of what it should look like when it's done and done well. And that's just going to give people something to cross-reference or compare it to. And that's what you want to have for your operations. So your offer, your operations are 2 very important steps in the getting rich department, if you want to call it that. The next is hiring and training. So it's kind of the same thing, what I said, but it's different than pure operations. Training is, you need to be able to train someone from basically scratch all the way up to, doing a great job in ensuring the standards and quality that your business is known for, right? If you can hire someone for 60K and you can get 200K worth of work and value out of them, that's like a big form of leverage for your business. So when you're hiring, you want to have an automatic system. As you grow, you can't afford to spend hours and hours manually training someone. You have to have a system, whether that's pre-recorded videos and all of that kind of stuff, where you can basically onboard an employee in the same way that you would onboard a customer, right? Customer client onboarding, people understand, but you should have the same thing for each role that's at your company. And in this stuff, there should be video trainings, there should be tests or assignments that they can use to prove their skills and kind of get them up to speed. And then you should have feedback. So I usually do daily feedback for the first 90 days for even as little as 5 minutes per day. But without all 5 of these things, like, it's going to be hard to make a lot of money. And that's why it's worthy to be on this list. The next one is your paid ads. So I'm going to do a little bit of drawing here. And the paid ads are important because they're the most scalable form of, I guess you could say, leads and traffic. But if we want to run paid ads, we have to have a complete funnel. And this is really what a complete funnel looks like. And it looks like a lot. And it looks like a lot because it is a lot, right? You need a lead magnet. You need your landing pages. You need your email flow set up and your conversion mechanisms. So when you're doing your ads, it's going to look like something like, okay, here I'm adding. Oh, they're on there. They've gone to the landing page and added to their email flows. They're getting my newsletter and they're getting invited to my group. Oh, my group indicates that they're qualified. Okay, now they're going to book a call. All of these steps are very necessary. And if you don't have all of these steps, like, your ads aren't going to work properly. And that's what's lost on a lot of people, I believe. So a lot of people will have an ad that has a lead magnet, but they won't have any email flows or they won't have any conversion mechanisms. And it just kind of stops here. And then they wonder why, oh my God, my ads don't work. Well, yes, that would be like just adding the foundation of a skyscraper and then trying to add the very top of it, without the 100 floors of construction in between. Just doesn't work in that way. So if you can get a full ad funnel and you can get all this stuff and you can get it working, let's say, cohesively and effectively, you are really going to make, this is a very important step in the getting rich, goal that is this video. The next step is content, and you want to have 5 pieces of written content per day on Twitter, on LinkedIn, on Facebook, and on Instagram. So what you want to do is schedule it all for Twitter. So for example, I scheduled this tweet here for Twitter and I posted it, but at the same time, I cross-posted it to my LinkedIn, to my Instagram, to my Facebook, and all of that kind of stuff. The next is you want to have 1 YouTube video per day. And for proof of concept, I post once per day. So you're watching that right now. Ha ha ha. And then you want to have 1 short form video per day on your TikTok, on your YouTube Shorts, on your Instagram Reels, on your Facebook Reels. And I'm going to do that soon. I promise. I'm not doing it yet. So unfortunately, I cannot say do as I say or do as I do when I'm not doing it. But soon, you want to have 5 newsletters per week because, similar to the YouTube video you're watching, that is one of the best ways to convert leads into clients, and the newsletter is the other best way. And you want to send a newsletter once per day, and all of your content that you're making, you always want to run it through, is this useful or is this actionable test? If it's not, if it's the answer is no, then you kind of got to figure it out or rework it a little bit. Because a lot of people will post stuff that is not actionable, not useful, not helpful in any way. It's just a statement, it's just ranting, it's just whatever. And that might get engagement, maybe, but it's not going to get you clients. And those are 2 different things. The next thing is going to be your outreach. So this mostly means like cold email, right? And I have the cold emails that I send right here. So there's a few different parts in your outreach, mostly cold email, but this applies to cold calls, cold messages, manually just reaching out, whatever. The number one thing is you need to, when I say the offer is the biggest leverage point, that is also true in outreach, in cold email, cold traffic, all that kind of stuff, where you need to have a good offer first and foremost. The next thing you want to do is have an accurate list, and you can go to Apollo and export a list based on whatever you want to do. The next you want to have is the script. So all three of these things work together and all three are important. So if we have a good offer, like basically my business is a consulting program that will help you get more leads, like that is a decent offer. So the cold email is, basically I run a consulting program and we've noticed that there's 4 things that prevent agencies from growing. And I made a short video going over these things and how to solve them. That is a lot better offer. That is more valuable than just saying, I have a consulting program, like please get on a call with me, right? And that's what I mean here. It's a 75-word script, not a book that no one's going to read, because the people that you're doing with outreach, a few things are true. They don't trust you. They don't know who you are. They never asked to be emailed in the first place. And they might not even be looking for what it is you're offering. So it's like 4 parts. That's an uphill battle, right? So we really need to separate ourselves by going a better offer with more value. So offer, list, script, focusing on the video. And when you're doing this, a lot of people will tell you open rates, click rates, reply rates, all of that kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, the only metric that matters is your email to lead ratio, or cold call to lead ratio, or message to lead ratio. Anything else is a vanity metric at best. And this is the one that you really need to optimize. It doesn't matter if you have 100% open rate and 50% reply rate. If you're getting 20,000 emails per lead, it's not good, right? So it's just one of those things where optimizing your outreach is going to give you a very stable and steady source of leads. It's very linear. And that's very important to balance out the unpredictability of content in your quest to get rich in the next couple of years. The next is partnerships, and partnerships are huge leverage. Just think about it. If you have 100 partners, you're basically taking advantage of the time, the effort, and the resources of 101 businesses, yours plus your partners. So the 2 main types of partnerships to work on are white label and referral. Some other ones are media and joint venture, but for this, when you're getting started, try to get people to refer to you or try to get them to white label your service. And these are such high leverage because, like I said, 101 businesses worth of labor and getting clients, they're going to spend the money, the time, the effort to get the clients, and they're going to basically pass them off to you if you do this right. And just think about that for a second at scale. That is how you make a ton of money. When you're trying to make these partnerships, the 2 things you want to focus on are, number 1, how you're going to ensure you're not going to embarrass them. So very big, that's like the biggest objection, the biggest risk. How do they know they're not going to refer to you and you're going to screw their referral over, or you're going to go out of business and just take their money and run, and it's going to look bad for them? That's the first thing you need to focus on. And the second is, what is the benefit to them beyond just like a referral fee? They could get a referral fee from anyone. How else does it benefit them? So an example of this is I used to have a landing page agency for e-commerce brands that you'd run your paid ads to, and that's how you'd make sales. Who else needs landing pages? Oh, the Facebook ad agencies that serve them, because the landing pages aren't good, the ads aren't going to work, and they're going to get fired. So it's just an example. Like, that is a benefit beyond the fee. You're going to reduce the churn, you're going to get their clients better results, all of that kind of stuff. So once you've decided how you're not going to embarrass them, what benefit is to them, just start cold emailing them in the same way you'd cold email clients. And one of the favorite quotes, from Archimedes, which is an ancient Greek philosopher, give me a place to stand and a lever long enough and I will move the world. And in my opinion, the partnerships are going to be one of the highest leverage things that you can possibly do in terms of getting rich with your business. The next is appointment setting. So appointment setting means that manually reaching out to everybody who opts in or subscribes to you or becomes a lead, because you're going to get 3 times or 5 times or 10 times more calls this way, as opposed to what you would get if you just, basically passively waited for them to book calls themselves. And you either do this yourself or you'd hire an appointment setter. An SDR is another term for it, the equivalent thing, sales development representative. These all refer to basically the same things. So what you're going to want to do is follow up twice per week to all of them by email, to SMS, and phone. And this is our landing page. If you want to get our 12 free trainings, you put your stuff in here and then you are added to our CRM, and then our appointment setters reach out to them. It's really not that crazy, right? And then what you want to do while you're doing this is keep posting content, because even if they don't respond or book a call originally or on the first reach out, you're just going to keep posting more and more content over and over, and they're going to see it. They're going to be on your website, so they're going to see your retargeting ads, and the algorithms are going to prioritize your content and stuff. And eventually they are going to book a call. It's kind of almost guaranteed there. The ninth thing is sales. And if you have all of this stuff and you have your operations and your hiring and your paid ads and your content and your outreach and your partnerships and your appointment setting, you still got to sell them. And this is on the phone. So you want to have a pre-call flow that sends them reminders, gives them information, gets like some information in terms of their business, like their name, their phone number, their revenue, like what problems they're trying to solve. You want to have a plan when you go into each sales call, not necessarily a script, but definitely a plan. And in your plan, in your screen share presentation, like this is our screen share presentation when I'm on sales calls for our program, you want to preemptively address objections, because that builds a lot of trust. If you don't do this, like the objections are still going to exist. Just because you don't bring them up doesn't mean they're magically not there. And one of two things are going to happen when you don't bring up the objections ahead of time. The first is they're going to think you're like stupid and you don't know that these objections exist, which is not good for you. Or they're going to think you're going to try to hide them and they're going to trust you less. I'm not sure which one of those are worse, but neither of them are good. So it pays a lot in terms of an ROI to bring up the objections and then address them and overcome them preemptively without them having to ask or think about it. It looks very strong and very professional, and it's something that someone who is a true professional and knows their service would do. After you've done the screen share presentation, my favorite thing to do is like just go, okay. So what do you think about this on a scale of 1 to 10? Like, are you going to do it? 10 is I'm going to do it right after this call, or 1 is no, this isn't for me. And they'll say like 7 or something, or 8. And then you say, well, what do we need to do like right now to bring that 8 to a 9, or bring that 7 to a 9? And they will really just tell you openly and honestly, because just the way you phrase it, it works very well. And then you can go and you can overcome anything that you haven't talked about yet and their specific situation, and you can close the deal that way. Of course, a lot of people aren't going to just buy on the call or buy right after the call, and that means you're going to have to follow up. Follow up twice per week for a minimum of 12 weeks, and maybe even longer if you want to. But if you follow up 24 times in the context of, service-based business sales, and they haven't bought, they're probably not going to. But they might buy in the future. You might add them to a list to contact once every 3 months. They're still going to see your content. They're still going to see your ads. They're still going to receive your cold emails and all of that kind of stuff. So your marketing will get them to come back eventually. And then the last part is the website. So all of this is meaningless if you don't have a decent enough website that has a VSL at the top, which stands for video sales letter. The most important stuff in this is, you explain what you do, but most of the benefit of that is you showing your face, them hearing your voice, because that's what builds trust. You want to have something on your website like the trainings that we have where you can collect their email address if they want and start sending them emails. You want to have proof. So like on ours, we have, a bunch of client wins, for example. We have a bunch of case studies. We have a bunch of reviews, like all that kind of stuff, a bunch of logos, like do people buy our service, like that kind of stuff. The next thing you want to do is make sure that your search results are good. So if someone searches 1000x leads, like it clearly exists. There's our group, there's our reviews, there's our website, my LinkedIn profile, YouTube videos. One of the like someone searching it and it not even showing up is almost worse than bad things showing up, in my opinion. So we just have a ton of stuff that shows up when someone searches us. And that's very important, and a hack to do this a little bit, if you want to call it that, is to put your company name on your profiles. So for my YouTube, Matt 1000x leads, same thing on my Twitter, on my LinkedIn, that's the company I work at, so it shows up. So it's just a very easy way to, optimize those search results and get yourself to show up, to build a lot of trust. So these are the 10 things that we really need to do to basically get rich. And if we do all of these things, like we are going to make quite some money. But the value is in doing all of them, remember. If we just do a few of them, the effectiveness of it is not going to be as heavy as it was with all of them. So I promise, like, we will go over an actual, profit if you do all of these things and you do them well. So that's what I have here. So for this math, I used, if you sell them an intro offer and you upsell them to the recurring service, like, these numbers are very conservative in my opinion in terms of lifetime value. But let's do them one at a time because I did a bunch of different ones here. So if we start with the paid ads, let's get it like that, and we make one new ad per day, and we make each ad 1% better than the last, we're going to make 365 ads per year, and our 365th ad is going to be 37 times better than our first one. Whether that's a video ad, a photo ad, it doesn't even matter. And you might not be a good advertiser, or you might not even advertise at all when you're watching this video, but trust me, with enough practice and enough feedback, you will make a lot better ads. Over time, with these 37 times better ads, we're probably going to get, or we should aim to be getting, 70 cents cost per click, which is just a metric on Facebook ads or any kind of ads. We also want to test our landing page once per week. So whatever page we're sending our ad traffic to, we want to make A/B tests to increase our opt-in rate. So with the goal of getting a 70% opt-in rate eventually. If we have a 70-cent cost per click and a 70% opt-in rate, we are going to have a $1 cost per lead. That's just a matter of pure arithmetic. If we spend $500 per day, which we'll build up to, not all at once, that means we'll get 500 leads per day. Of the people, because remember, we were going something like this where they go to our lead magnet and then they're opt in and sign up and added to our email flows, and they go to our community here, and our community is where we nurture them and determine if they're qualified. If we basically convert 30% of the people who download a lead magnet into our community, so 30% of 500, that's 150 new group members per day. And if we close and sell just 1 in 200 of them, which is 0.5%, that means we're getting 0.75 clients per day this way. 274 clients per year, which is at a $5,000 basically value, 1.368 million in revenue, and a 20% margin to account for all of the extra ad spend. That's $273,750 per year in just profit from just our paid ads. Very, very strong way to get clients. So if we go to our content now, and we make one YouTube video per day, not even including all the other content, and each is just 1% better than the last. 365 videos per year, just like the ads, at 1% better every day is 37 times better. If we have 37 times better videos and we're getting just 50 cents per view, so for context, on the YouTube channel you're watching right now, mine, we've made over 700,000, I think, at this point from YouTube, and I have, 310,000 views. So that's more than 50 cents per view. And this comes from not the AdSense really, but selling a product or service and getting clients from it. The ad spend or the ad revenue is very insignificant, but I'm selling a $4,000 program from this and people buy it a lot off YouTube. So if you get 50 cents per view, which is conservative through our product sales and ad revenue, and we average 3,000 views per video, some might get more, some might get less. That is 1,195,000 total views in the course of a year, which is $547,500 in revenue if we, get 50 cents per view. At a 30% margin instead of 20% because there's no ad spend, that is $164,250 profit per year, in addition to the profit we already have. If we go to our cold emails here, our outreach, and we send 5,000 cold emails per day, Monday to Friday, and we get 1 call per 2,000 emails sent. That's 2.5 calls per day, Monday to Friday. That's 652 calls per year when you average it out, which is 130 clients if we get a 20% close rate. If we have $5,000 LTV each, that's $650,000 in revenue and a 30% margin. That's $195,000 per year in profit, in addition to whatever we had already. Last but not least, the partnerships. If we send 1,500 cold emails per day to potential partners, and we get one call per 1,500 because it's kind of easier to get partnership calls than it is to get client calls, just because the dynamic is different. And we get one call per day, Monday to Friday. That's 261 calls per year. And if we close 30% of them, that is 86 partners. If each give us $10,000 LTV over the course of a year, and that's on average, some might give us zero, some might give us 200,000, some might give us somewhere in between that, then that is $860,000 in revenue over the course of a year. Because there's no customer acquisition cost, there's no sales commission, there's stuff because it's just partners, we now have 50% margin instead of 30%. That's $430,000 per year in profit. If we added all of these up, 273,000 plus 164,000 plus 195 plus 430, we're going to be making, $1,063,000 per year in profit. And these are, in my opinion, conservative numbers. You might have a LTV higher than 5,000. You almost certainly will have. You'll have stuff like your affiliate revenue, your digital product sales, your referral fees that you get from referring to other people, and all of that kind of stuff. So it is very possible for you to follow a plan like this and get very, very rich over the course of the next 2 to 3 years. This is not going to happen overnight, but it's attainable for almost anybody who's actually in business. You just need to have the right plan, how to work harder, and do all of that kind of stuff. And that is the end of this plan.